Today we'll dive into the tale of Isha versus Warwick / Vander. Mainly because Arcane is over, but I'm still not over it. When I first started watching Arcane, it was amazing, but my mind completely shattered when I watched a short by Flowchart Ken, where he stated that Arcane is a tale of two sisters, two inventors, two cities, and two points of views that challenges one's mindset of a black and white world. The deeper you go, the more you realize that this is not a good guys versus the bad guys story. It's a human story. A story where you can say everyone involved is flawed and has done morally wrong things. You may have a favorite character, but they probably have done something not ideal. I'm really grateful that I got to watch Flowchart Ken's short on Arcane, being a tale of two, and it really opened my brain to all these conflicting stories. How they may seem so different at first, but you realize that they're really two sides of the same coin. Arcane is a story of two pupils fighting to create their own type of utopia and messing up along the way. It is a story of two parental figures willing to sacrifice everything for family. A story of two individuals who may seem so different at first, but at their core are the same. I can go on and on with examples, but I'll save them for future videos. Feel free to like this video so you can see more of those. At the end of the day, Arcane is a reflection of humanity. We may look or come from different backgrounds, but at the source of it all, we are flawed human beings living life. I want to juxtapose both Vander and Isha as unlikely protectors to demonstrate this idea the best. Two characters who seem very different from their appearance, yet at their core show us a similar story. Now the question is, what makes these characters unlikely protectors? Well, when you think of a hero or protector, you may think of a parent, a superhero who's perfectly built, or even a firefighter. In Vander's case, if you see something that looks like this in the streets, you automatically believe it's up to no good. Wolves in general are portrayed in fiction as the bad guys quite often. They're not protectors at all. They're typically the ones that the heroes fight, especially ones that look this scary. Isha, on the other hand, is a small little girl. Little children aren't seen as the first line of defense most of the time. If anything, children are the ones who receive the most protection in the real world most of the time. Despite their appearance, both Vander and Isha shattered these ideas of what a hero should look like, truly proving the saying never judge a book by its cover, showing us that anyone can be a protector and do good. Now, I've been calling this person Vander to focus on this version of the character, a version where the man becomes a beast, at least from a skin-deep perspective that is, and mainly because it fits the narrative that I am painting. This character has gone through lots of developments, inside and out. When he was fully human, he was seen as your typical protector, a big, strong guy who commanded respect from others and was seen as a leader in Zon. However, his drive to protect and please those around him ultimately led to his downfall, and kinda is the reason why Zon was truly never free. During his last stand, we see two versions of Vander fight, his human version and the beginnings of a beast. Before he got the shimmer buff, Vander was able to take down two individuals who he could realistically best. However, Vander is just a human and could not beat someone like this in his current state. It was not until he made a trade-off that temporarily gave him the strength to protect Vi and save her life. This is when Vander was no longer human and started to resemble the beast that we see in season 2. Ultimately, his sacrifice was temporary since he came back as Warwick. Regardless, the idea of sacrificing one's life for another may seem quite noble, but it may actually create more harm than help in the long run. I'll explain this later in the video, when we look at another protector who reminds us that living is the best option. But for now, let's fast forward to season 2, where Vander once again saves Jinx during this prison scene. Yes, I know, it looks like Vander is giving Jinx the work here, and actually trying to end her life. However, we need to remember that this isn't Vander doing it. It's the beast that shares his new body, that our mad scientist pal over here made. It's not until the beast sees this trinket made by Jinx that Vander starts to regain control and says, It is once again Vander here who, oddly enough, saves Jinx from his beastly ego's counterpart. During Season 2 Act 2, we see Vander once again save Jinx, but this time with him in full control. This is mainly thanks to Victor being able to reconstruct fragments of Vander's psyche. It does suck that this was temporary though. On the flip side of things, let's take a look at Isha, who just like Vander, throws herself in dangerous situations for others. When it looked like Vi was about to end Jinx, she dove headfirst into danger to protect her. This is a pattern that we see quite often with Isha. We can assume that she didn't have the best life before meeting Jinx, most likely working in the coal mines. However, it was Jinx that showed Isha this dangerous life firsthand. From her point of view, Jinx saved her in a very erratic and not safe way, but this left a lasting impression. This was the start of a new family for Isha. Jinx even says it herself.
Yep, that's me. You ever need to curse a sibling or a family or a society? My card.
It is no wonder why Isha ran towards her. It was for a better and happier life. A life where she continues to support Jinx in fights. So when Vi once again starts to gain the upper hand on Jinx, best believe Isha is there to protect her new family member, running headfirst into battle at the detriment of her own safety. Each time Isha does this, the more bruised she gets. And you know what? This is just her character trait now. Shoot, her name means one who protects in Hindi. She will protect anyone she sees fit, including Vander. I have to admit, this image of a little girl who probably doesn't even weigh 70 pounds trying to protect a beast that can level buildings is kind of funny and ironic, but it's just a testament to her character. Just like how it would be kind of ironic if you didn't like and sub for more Arcane videos in the future. I'm mainly doing Valorant stuff, but I wouldn't mind branching out from time to time with other stories that I really enjoy. Regardless, it makes sense for Isha to act this hazardly. It's quite common for little kids to put themselves in danger. Growing up, we feel invincible. We feel like we can live forever and can be out of touch with reality sometimes. I can easily relate to this. Maybe it's because I watched a lot of superhero and anime shows growing up, but when I was in middle school, I would imagine scenarios of what I would do if a shooter came to mind. Many times I would daydream that I would take this person out. In reality, that most likely would not be the case. I probably would run away with as many people as I could. But Isha is someone who acts on this hot-headed, heroic mindset, rushing into danger quite often. I also remember watching a YouTube video that pointed out that whenever Isha is near Jinx, her sense of self-protection goes out the window. Tunaholic does a great job at pointing out the patterns of Isha dropping her helmet quite often, especially when around Jinx. Helmets are items that keep your head safe from physical dangers. This reoccurring pattern kind of foreshadows her demise. Now, a lot of people strongly dislike the Isha's end, saying that it didn't need to happen. Jinx, Vi, Caitlyn, and Isha herself could have all ran away. Me on the other hand, well, I was too busy feeling a roller coaster of emotions in a very short amount of time that felt like forever. While Isha was running in slow motion, I knew the worst was coming, but I couldn't stop but feel hopeful. These scenes of Isha and Jinx playing together, sharing pure bliss and happiness, kept me hopeful to a point where I'm still delusional. Yeah, that's right. If you don't see a body, then can you really say that they're dead? Shoot, even when they do die, they might not stay dead. You could also say that Isha didn't only sacrifice her own sake for Jinx, but for Warwick as well. This guy does not look like he's having a good time at all. Our mad scientist pointed out that Vander had a crazy will to live, which is why he became Warwick. For all we know, Vander himself could be in a state of pure pain here because of that same will. Regardless, we have seen many examples of Isha running headfirst into danger to save those who she cares about. She's very observant too. She saw that no one was going to save Jinx. In her head, she saw her hero down on the floor, and the only person who can save her was herself. Damn, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of getting teary-eyed just thinking about these scenes. The ending of this episode is definitely up there with other animated events, like when Ace became a donut or when Jiraiya went GG's in Naruto. I don't think I will ever get over this. Regardless, Isha saw a problem, had an idea, and ran with it. She's like 7 or 10 years old. I would imagine that carrying a grown woman at that age would be difficult. And of course, she didn't think through all her options. This is a very hectic place to be thrown into right now. And just like Vander, who gave up his life to protect those around him, Isha did the same. Someone giving up their life for another person has to be the pinnacle of what it means to be a protector. Right? Wrong. When Vander won GG's the first time, it opened the door for Silka, who temporarily made Zon worse. When Vander won GG's the second time, it opened the door to others using his body against those who Vander actually cared about. This happens in real life all the time. When someone dies a martyr, it opens the door for others to use that person as a symbol or in ways they probably never intended. To be fair, Vander didn't sacrifice himself the second time. It was Jace just doing Jace things. But the same idea applies here. Sacrificing your life for others is noble and whatnot, but the best option is and should always be the one where life keeps going. The option where you can save everyone, including yourself. If Isha was a bit more rational, she could have saved Jinx in her own life. But as we mentioned before, Isha is like most 7 and 10-year-olds. It's almost like ending one's life for another person may be seen as a childish mindset to have, especially when both parties can keep living. Of course, there are moments in stories where only one person can live, but that shouldn't stop someone from finding an outcome where everyone can live happily ever after, unless you're an Arcane writer, of course. And it's very important to keep on living. When Isha went poof, she sent Jinx into a downward spiral of depression. Jinx lost her father twice, and someone who she saw as a sister or even possibly a daughter. Jinx was going to end herself. Isha could have been the person to console Jinx and or be the reason to keep living. At the end of the day, Vander and Isha both saved Jinx multiple times in different ways. They changed her for the better, but the person who helped her live up to her potential and save her from herself was Ekko, the one who kept living. I'm choosing to point this out because it's almost impossible for a lifeless body to defend someone, most of the time. If someone goes GG's for another, then that person's watch has ended. It is now a gamble, a hope that the ones who remain continue to live a life filled with more jubilee than sorrow. Regardless, Isha and Warwick showed us that anyone can be a protector / hero. It doesn't matter if you look like a villain or as frail as a fly. Feel free to comment your thoughts of Isha and Warwick down below. I have tons of Arcane ideas that I can make, so feel free to like the video if you want to see those as well. Till next time, stay safe, be a KDA warrior, and I'll see you later. Also, I totally think Isha is still alive. Call me delusional, but hear me out. What if there is a council of echoes out there, and at the very last second, one of them saved Isha's life for some random reason, and we could possibly see her in the future? Delusional, I know, but we haven't seen a body, man. Anything is possible in fiction. Alright, later.